for this election, and they have considered, because as Prof said, they think that going on with this election is no more feasible. They just discovered that. So that's where you can, imagine that there were other influences.
Yes.
But if they are independent, actually, they ought to have known what they would need. They didn't just need money to be appropriated from the National Assembly. They also needed the right kind of training to draw a program, and follow it like, project managers follow it, deadline by deadline, and tick all the boxes, and know that 2 weeks of their time, if we have significant boxes that are not ticked, that we're not ready, we begin to make plans to, and not to, ambush people. 3 hours, 4 hours to the election, you say you're not doing it again.
I've heard so many words. Ambush, anger.
You ambushed us.
Yeah.
I had to stay awake till 3 a.m. to even hear what they wanted to say, because the rumor said around 11 p.m. Playing my tennis, hoping that the following morning we'll go and do this stuff. And then the rumor came. I said, no, I can't stop a rumor and go and sleep. I had to stay awake. I actually watched it on Channels Television. When they come up. And then just like Doc said from Abuja, the chairman never offered any apologies, even though they would do more expansive detail, whatever. But even in that short speech he made, he ought to have shown a little remorse and regret for what we've lost in this country. Nigeria is in the eye of the storm. The whole of Africa is looking at us to show you. That's where the public relations thing comes in, and the markets are going to be responding to this.
That's right.
At this point in time, going to Yola in Adamawa. Yes.
Larry Lasisi, our correspondent, is standing by. Larry.
Once again today. Larry, what do you have?
Yola is still online. We're calm. Everything happening here, I think it's more, I'll say, like a subdued air in the city. People are going about their businesses, not as they would have, I'm sure, today, but everybody is adjusting to news of the postponement and also trying as much as possible to do something with the day. Now, I have here with me the Commissioner of Information and Strategy for Adamawa State. He's going to just to talk to us about what is happening. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Larry. It's been a shock. Just the right word is it's been a shock. We're shocked. We are really devastated because we are prepared fully. I was in the situation room. I was managing the situation room, and we had access to information from all the local governments. We were tracking the distribution of materials. We were talking to people on ground, and we were talking to people at INEC office when we suddenly heard that the elections had been postponed, and we're still yet to grapple with it.
Okay, well, we would like to understand, right now, can you confirm if news has gone round what's happening in some of the inner cities, inner towns and villages in Adamawa?
And I think the news has gone round, and this is one very interesting Saturday for everybody. There will be no parties, there will be no burials, there will be no weddings, there will be no naming ceremonies. Everybody had cancelled every activity preparing for elections, and now there is no elections. So, but the most important thing for us, those of us in authority, those of us in government, the most responsible thing we will need to do, and we have already started in Adamawa State, is to continuously appeal to our people, plead with them for their understanding, tell them, don't Allah kwe hakuri ma binu, and all that we could tell them, because of course, definitely, somebody who had left whatever he was doing to go back to the place where he registered, which could be a little bit far away from where he normally resides, it's quite a very terrible occurrence for the person. So we're trying to persuade our people, and we're also looking ahead. How do we contain a situation where this thing does not result in voter apathy, where it does not result in serious drop in number of people that will be willing to come out and cast their votes on the dates that have been decided. And we're also looking at the Colorado effect. We've stopped people from going to their markets today and other economic activities. How much of it will result in drop in actual income? And we've looked at people who came from afar, the observers, national and international, who have come here, people like you, who came to cover this election. You have come here at a cost. And then what happens to all this cost?
Okay, but more importantly, a lot of people will be wondering, you know, just before even this day and all that, we'd had problems in some states as regards materials, the issue of safety of those materials at some of these offices around the country. I'm talking of INEC right now. Now, what as a state government, what assurances can you give, since some of these materials, the sensitive materials, have already left to the local government?
No, you know, we have a very little role to play as a government, but, you know, if we are to suggest, if we are to decide, if we are to ask to give an advice, you know, most of the sensitive materials that have already been exposed are automatically expired. They can't be used again because they are already materials that have been compromised, whichever way you look at it. So as a government, our advice will be that the INEC must find whatever magic they're going to play to ensure that out of their contingency, probably there would have been a by-election, whatever source they can get to reduce some of these sensitive materials because they have been compromised. We're thinking of, along that line. But most importantly, it is now that people like us who are in the media, people like us who are in government also, it's our turn now to come out forcefully and begin to assuage the feelings of the people, to re-engineer and reinvigorate the faith of the people in the electoral process. Because, you know, this is not a failure of just INEC. It's a failure of us as a nation. We've been unable to create enduring institutions that can withstand shocks like this. At what point did the crisis precipitate? Is it a sudden crisis? Is it a festering crisis that we've ignored? We need to study all of these things, and we have only 1 week. And that is the danger in it. Okay. We have only 1 week.
All right, there you have it, the Commissioner of Information and Strategy here in Adamawa State, talking about some of the steps that can be taken, making suggestions also as regards the way forward from this point that I'm sure has caught everybody unawares. A lot of us were still looking at whether it will happen, it won't happen. Well, it happened. We'll still be here on ground monitoring situations here in Adamawa State.
All right, thank you very much, Larry, from Yola in Adamawa State. The number of issues raised there, the compromise or non-compromise of sensitive materials. And talking about sensitive materials, we understand that INEC, particularly, for example, in Ekiti State, has begun the retrieval of sensitive and non-sensitive electoral materials deployed to polling centers. This followed the announcement of the postponement of the election by INEC itself. There you have the visuals. INEC forklifts were seen pulling out the materials as they were immediately returned to the stores for safekeeping. The INEC Public Relations Officer in Ekiti State, Mr. Taiwo Gbadegeshin, says they will take custody of the materials pending any further directives. Meanwhile, a similar activity is also said to be going on in Jigawa State, where electoral materials are also being retrieved from all polling centers across the state. INEC vans, which were designated to dispatch them, were seen parked at the INEC office in the state capital. The INEC Administrative Secretary in Jigawa State, Mr. Ahmed Daneji, says they've retrieved all the electoral materials owing to the announcement that the sensitive and non-sensitive materials should be in INEC's custody. And speaking about disappointments from these elections, one more person who is disappointed with the fact that the election has been postponed is the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, Mr. Adams Oshiomhole, who has expressed shock and disappointment at what he described as the poor timing of INEC's decision to postpone the 2019 elections. Mr. Oshiomhole also highlighted some of the losses incurred by Nigerians as a result of the last-minute postponement of the election.
Everything that INEC needed, I would have imagined that they have it before they went out on their own to reassure the nation that they are ready. And even for those who raised doubt, INEC was quick to clear those doubts. And because as I speak, I do not have any particular information with regards to what is it that happened at the last minute. I can't comment much deeper, but just to say that the task we now have, having been subjected to this rude shock and disappointment, and in fact, as I said, I am disgusted. And I think everywhere many Nigerians should feel totally disgusted. Not that elections have been postponed for the first time. Elections have been postponed for one reason or the other in the past. But it is the fact that every responsible manager who has a deadline to keep must know all the things he needs to be able to do what you are obliged to do on a given date. If you don't have all the facilities available, then what makes sense is to tell your all those who are going to be affected that, for whatever reason you have, that please, I need X amount of additional time. But it is the last minute nature that, it is the pain, not just the fact of disappointment. As I said, we have huge logistics that we have had to cope with. I believe Pt.3 would have incurred huge costs. Now, how do we make up for that?
All right, the INEC chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, and we can go straight now to the International Conference Center, venue of the meeting that everyone was expecting to hear. There you have the national chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu. Let's listen in.
Once again, let me, on behalf of the Independent National Electoral Commission, apologize that this briefing is starting about an hour behind schedule. Our sincere apologies for keeping you waiting. The reasons for this will be explained shortly.
All right, there. Well, that meeting is underway, and hopefully, if we get back to it, we'll just listen in and hear what explanation the INEC chairman has for the postponement of this election. Probably wanting to brief everyone on the way forward. That's what we're hoping to hear from him. So when we do go back there, we'll probably hook up back and see how it goes from there.
Yes, back to our studio guests here, Mr. Onochie and Mr. Odemezwe. At this point, part of what we had said earlier is that Professor Yakubu had briefed.
Okay, I think they're about to start off, so let's just listen in. I think he's trying to make his way through all the shutterbugs and the cameras that you can see on the screen there. Hopefully he will start off his address, and we shall hear what he has to say. A lot of Nigerians are indeed interested in hearing what he has to say. Some of them actually ended up going to those polling centers hoping that voting would happen, only to get there and find out that voting would not happen. Many are shocked, some are angry, some are outraged, and we've heard all sorts of adjectives to